There you are. You're about to do something that actually matters. Say the thing. Move toward the edge. Commit. And before anything happens, your body tightens. The breath shortens. The chest contracts. And something in you activates. And nothing has gone wrong yet. No consequence has arrived. But the system, your system, has already decided, not this. And most people don't call that fear. They call it being careful. They call it discernment. They might even call it wisdom. You might even call it misalignment. But it's fear. Not as a story, but as nervous system sensation. Before I go further, a brief orientation. Not every nervous system meets fear the same way. So if you want to understand how your system organizes under pressure, pause here, go down to the description and take our free Somatic Skins quiz. It'll change how you hear what follows, and then come right back. So here's the problem with orienting around fear. You don't have many problems in your life. You have one. Your relationship with the energy of fear, or what you don't want to feel. Not philosophically, not psychologically, somatically. Fear is not an idea that you believe, it's an event in the body. And because we're intelligent people, we've learned how to manage it indirectly. We analyze it, we name it, we elevate it into language and ideas. Worry, concern, caution, etc. But the nervous system does not respond or communicate in language, it responds to charge. So instead of learning how to meet fear internally, we tend to organize our lives around avoiding it externally. We manage conditions. They shouldn't speak to me that way. They shouldn't use that tone. They shouldn't act this way. I'm going to remove myself from the situation. They shouldn't think that way. And underneath all of that is the same logic. I don't want to feel this energy inside my own body. And so we try to control the outside instead. And that works. Nothing wrong with it. But it comes at a cost, because avoidance doesn't eliminate fear, but it does limit participation in a bigger life. It limits your capacity. What most people never notice is how subtle this becomes. Life doesn't collapse. Choice by choice, the default is that life narrows. You become more composed, more regulated, more reasonable, and less available to intensity. For example, just look at who you were at age 18, 19, 20. We are now able to stay less present when charge rises, less willing to risk contact, less alive at the edges where things actually start to change and evolve. Fear and desire are not opposite in the body. They are the same charge. So learning how to orient around fear will also sweeten and elevate our connection to desire and growth for evolution. Fear is what the charge of desire feels like when the system doesn't yet know how to hold it. Desire is what fear feels like when the system can. It's the same activation charge, different capacity, different interpretation. And this is why fear shows up where it does, before the conversation that you don't want to have, before the creative act that might fail publicly, before the step that would cost you a relationship, an identity, a promised future. Fear marks the edge of your current range, not because something is wrong, but because something is asking to move. And it's easy to misread this and treat fear as a warning signal, proof that you should stop. But your fear isn't predicting danger. It's just pressing on the nerves of what hasn't yet learned how to wield the sensation. And this is where the intelligence of fear becomes clear. Fear is your ally. It doesn't oppose you. It applies pressure exactly where structure is still rigid, where you can't be with what is happening without collapsing. And so fear will feel like a threat, and your body will contract or contort. And the contraction might look like environmental control, like maturity or having it all together. But stability without expansion becomes a small sphere. And this is how people become calm but constrained, peaceful but flat, safe but distant from alive desire. What changes everything is not actually the value of courage, it's capacity. The mind-body capacity remaining present and able to orient when fear arrives, so that your structure can stay intact. Your breath can stay continuous and responsive. Your attention can stay inside and outside the body simultaneously. Under those conditions, your fear will reorganize and not be an order to stop. It becomes a compass direction, a magnetic heading towards a liberated life. This isn't metaphor, it's real physiology. When the nervous system stays coherent under load, activation does not escalate into panic. It sharpens your perception, it'll clarify your choices, it will widen access to sensation and information. Fear was never the barrier. It was the current of electricity and a live life that a part of you still craves. And the current doesn't have to work against you. It shows you where you're still holding on. This is why we train the principle steer by fear, and why people who learn to steer by fear don't look reckless. This is not a go big or go home. This is a trained capacity, and so they look steady. Not because their fear disappeared, but because fear no longer commands the system. They don't try to get rid of it. They let it point them. They move towards charge instead of insulating themselves from it. They might even celebrate that it's here, because charge is where vitality lives. And vitality or desire is where power lives. Not domination, power over, not force, but power as range. The ability to stay present inside intensity without bracing or fleeing. A nervous system that expands under pressure instead of contracting, where your fear doesn't narrow your life, it clarifies it. So that moment from the beginning, the tightening chest, the shortened breath, the impulse to pull back, imagine that not being a warning, but a portal. Fear not blocking the way anymore, but showing you exactly where the current of more life, more vibrancy runs for you. That is the pattern. And instead of organizing our lives to avoid feeling fear in the body, we can embrace it, so that that avoidance of fear doesn't become control of situations, people, and outcome, and the cost of that control doesn't become our own capacity, expression, and power. Fear isn't the problem. Our refusal somatically to meet it is. When we train an intimacy with fear instead of managing it away, that same energy that once limits us becomes the gateway that liberates us. All right, so that's what I've got for you today. Thank you for joining me, short and sweet. If you want to go deeper, there are two paths. First, the books. The Somatic Skins and Becoming the Grand Formidable are field manuals for understanding how pressure organizes in your body. You can find both links below in the description. Second, consider joining us for a season in the Prestige. This is the training environment where all of this gets applied and trained with so much more depth with others like you on this path. Thanks for sticking with me here until the end. If you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot, and it keeps us here sharing with you. Until next time.